Could we go back to your multi time frame chart setup for just 1 second? Because I find it very interesting. That kind of a four panel look. It definitely gives you a very clean, instant understanding of the situation. But
Absolutely.
my key question is, when you get down to the fastest time frame, let's say so you have a weekly, daily. What do we? Can you just run us through the actual time frames? It's
Yeah,
the week.
absolutely. It's weekly, then daily, then 2 hour, though I kind of interchange between the 2 hour and the 4 hour on this
Can I ask
particular.
you why 2 hours? It's a very unusual time frame. Almost nobody looks at the 2 hour. What made you realize the 2 hours is an interesting analysis point?
Yeah, I just find it to be a bit more reliable than the 1 hour.
Mm,
And obviously, it's not too much of a sacrifice in my mind because obviously, if you're not doing the 1 hour, typically you're doing the 4 hour then. And so this is
right,
kind of right in between. So if I can get, the thinking being, if I can get the signal sooner,
right,
then obviously that's a benefit.
right. And it's a 15 minute. That's the lowest time frame. The last one.
Yeah. Hmm.
So this is my question to you. So you come into the day, you look at you pull up your chart, and like weekly is down, daily is down, 2 hour is down, but 15 is up. So like in other words, when do you make a decision if all four go in your direction or three out of four? What's the trigger
No,
on
it's
your?
just about keeping everything in context, right? So the reason I do the four time frames is because I like to do what I call the top down analysis. So
Right,
I give you sort of a long term view, a medium term view, and then a view of what's happening in the here and now. And that's
right,
the so if I had to split it into two, the top half kind of gives me the long and medium term, and then the bottom half of my screen is giving me the what okay what's happening here and now. Um, the reason that's beneficial is because if I can see, like for example, on this Dow, on these Dow charts we're looking at, on that weekly time frame, as soon as I spotted that evening star on the weekly, right up at that at this beautiful resistance level here, that was the first indication that I should look to start selling this.
hmm
Now, if I mark this off on the chart and then just sync it. Whoops, wrong one. Let me just grab the right one. There we go. And then just sync it across. Can you see how this line that I just put in there at the end of that evening star? Can you see where it
yeah,
is on the two
yeah,
hour?
hmm
Now on the 2 hour, just to show you how I kind of keep it all in context, on the 2 hour, I've been tracking this long term upward channel. Can you see how the market's just been range
yes,
bound? Yeah,
yeah,
bouncing back and forth between support and resistance. And so, you know, I had multiple reasons for uh,
huh,
being short on this. First of all, we're up at the
right,
top of the channel, but
right,
then from the weekly time frame, I'm taking my cues from the weekly time frame and
right,
showing that we're showing an evening star on the
right,
2 hour. That evening star was right up at resistance. It's just absolutely prime to start
right.
selling, and you can see how it's played out as a result.
Interesting. And really, I would imagine as long as the price doesn't break fresh highs on the weekly, as long as it stays underneath that evening star, you're selling every upper failure of the channel on a 2 hour, right? Like it seems that would be natural, right? Like that's a low risk, high probability trade for you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now,
Really, yeah.
to continue with the channel on that 2 hour time frame, the game plan here would be as long as we're actually below the channel. What I teach my students all the time, Boris, is past resistance becomes future support, right?
Right.
And so as long as we're below what was this support level in the channel, I'm not treating that as support. I'm actually treating it as resistance.
Huh.
And so as long as we remain below,
Right.
I'm selling. In the event that we break above and take out these highs right in here, what
Yeah.
I would then anticipate is a pullback to test, and then right in here that is just the absolute sweet spot to buy back up to resistance. In again though, the caveat being it's got to break back into that channel. As long as
I
we're
see.
below the channel, I'm bearish.
Understood. So, it's interesting. You are more than comfortable kind of counter trending your longer term point of view when you get the correct technicals. But
Absolutely.
the initial impulse coming off the longer time frames, basically you want to sell tops in which you perceive to be a bearish bias, and then buy bottoms in a corrective mode, and your strategy is flexible enough to orient you into each one of those scenarios properly.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
kind of very, very interesting. Yeah.